Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Geof in the 5-minute pool on ICC. He plays d4, d6, so maybe we'll have a King's Indian defense via transposition. That looks to be the case. Okay, I'm going to play the main line with castles. No exchange variation today. Let's play d5, and then b4. So this is one of the absolute main lines of the bayonet attack. They play g3 and rook e1. I know rook e1 a little bit better. G3 theoretically might be stronger, but let's just do it this way. Okay, so they're blockading. I'll play a4, and usually rook a3 is played after this. This is a good move to defend along the third rank. As you know, in the King's Indian, black will be pressing you on the king side in a lot of the main lines. So the rook being on a3 is not insignificant. Like, this can be relevant sometimes. So we'll see how he plans to assault me on this wing. Plays rook a6, okay. Yeah, a lot of times this knight comes into b5, but do I want to jump it there first? Or play something like bishop f1. I mean, I think bishop f1 is reasonable. Let's do that. Just hide our bishop. I'm playing this move so if knight f4, they don't attack it. h6, okay. I could play knight d2 now. And then I'm kind of staring at that knight on h5. Could also play knight b5 all the same. Let's play knight d2, though. That way, if f5 and I take it, they can't take back with a pawn because they lose that knight on h5. The only thing is, I think, okay, this could get interesting because they're going to take with the knight, and they're going to try to plunk the knight in on d4. What to do about that? Okay, let's play knight b5 now. One of my knights is probably going to come to e4, and I want it to be this knight so that this one can assist in attacking the pawn on d6. So our knights are attacking each other, but I think knight e4 is all right here. So let's do that. I'm hitting e6 twice. It is defended by his rook and his queen, so he doesn't have to worry about that for the moment. Yeah, knight f4. Okay, so here's where like my rook actually looks pretty good. If I play g3, though, he's going to go knight h3 check. However, g3, knight h3 check, bishop takes h3, bishop takes h3. Can I play g4 then? Because that very sneakily attacks that bishop on h3. He has queen h4, though. Queen h4 is a problem. I would love to play g3, but it just doesn't seem to work. I could take the knight, but do I want to give my dark square bishop for it? Not so sure. Bishop takes f4, rook takes f4, then g3. Bishop g4 looks like an issue. Sometimes white can even play pawn h4 in these situations. Queen takes h4, then g3. But I don't know. h4 looks a little strange at this juncture. Not entirely sure how to play right now. Rook g3, perhaps? Rook g3 threatens bishop takes f4 and rook takes g6, but it's pretty transparent. I think he's going to see the point of it. Got to watch my time, too. h4. Keep going back to that h4 move. Maybe it's not bad. h4, queen takes h4, g3, knight h3 check, king h2. Looks so weird, but maybe it's okay. You know what? I'm going to try it. I've already thought a little while about this move, so let's give it a shot and see. I'm just waiting for the engine to tell me that this is just a bad decision. Okay, and he plays rook f7. So what if I take on d6 and then play g3? He's just playing simple chess. Simple chess. Okay, let's do that. So knight h3, we'll take it. I'm really low on time now, though. Maybe he won't even be interested in playing knight h3.
Check.
Okay, well, he's going to go for it. Okay, so let's do this. And after the trade on d6, I'm going to play g4 and try to trap that bishop. That's the whole plan. So take. Now the rook attacking that piece over here. It's weird how that worked out, but I think I am coming out on top. Ah, he has that move. Didn't see that. Definitely didn't see that. Okay, I think I got to take, though. Queen takes f2, king h1.
Check.
Please don't hurt me. Rook there. Okay, so if take, knight takes looks dangerous for me. Bishop e3 is not possible. Okay, let's come here. Ah, if queen g3, I have rook g1. Does that trap his queen? That actually traps his queen. He can't go to f4 because of my bishop. Remarkable. Okay, this is going to be a race against the clock, though. Ah, he has rook d3. He can save himself. He did not find it. Let's run the d-pawn. It's probably the simplest way to do this. 45 seconds, we can get this done. Let's go here. Not sure my last move was that great. Why are my pieces having such a hard time coordinating? Okay, gotta trade some stuff.
Check. Check.
Let's give a check here. Let's bring this over next. He's going to give that up. Queen g4 coming. "30 seconds. I think rook versus
check.
Rook and queen versus knight, bishop, and pawn should be winning. Chess wisdom for the day. Okay, let's just do this. I know he can check me on c2, but I just want to take and get rid of it. Make it simple. Let's pre-move this. 24 seconds remaining. Yeah, and he just resigned. Yeah, he played very fast at the end. He was clearly trying to play off my time. But when I played rook g1 attacking his queen, he could have played rook d3. Rook d3 was possible there. And then if I take his queen, he takes my queen check. And if rook back to g1, he can trade on g1 and play knight f3 check. So we'll see that when we get there. So yeah, this line is part of the reason why I'm kind of hesitant to go into the bayonet attack these days, which is characterized by b4 here on move 9. Some of these lines just get incredibly sharp, and the bayonet used to be considered like one of the most promising ways to play against a King's Indian. Vladimir Kramnik helped popularize that move, and I used to play it quite a bit. I've had some nice victories in this line, but most of those victories were at least half a decade ago. I've since looked for new weapons against the kid. So a5, yeah, in playing this move, black disrupts white's pawn structure because what I'm aiming for is c5. I would like to get that pawn advance in. So, you know, even though black normally plays on the king side, it's possible for him to make a stab on the queen side like this and kind of switch over to a counterattack. And I can't play a3 because he takes and I'm pinned. I'm unable to recapture because I lose my rook. So I take here. This is all normal, c5. White can take en passant, but it's not considered good to do so. So a4, and then the rook coming up. Yeah, all these moves are pretty standard. Knight d2, f5. I'm going to turn on the engine right about here. So here I took on f5. He took with the knight. Yeah, and the point of this knight d2 move on the previous move was that when this situation happens, pawn takes is impossible because he loses the knight on h5. So f5 takes, knight takes, and I play knight b5. Maybe I shouldn't take on f5. But if I don't take on f5, he's going to play f4 and start storming me. It seems kind of scary. Because when that pawn hits f4 and this one's coming up to g4 and possibly g3 or f3 in the future, white has to be concerned. And as you see, the queen side, it's like hard to do stuff on the queen side. It's locked up, and the rook on a6 controls that weak point. I can stick the knight in on b5, but it's hard to follow up sometimes with your attack. mean, white's not completely lacking opportunities, but you have to play precisely. That's pretty clear. Okay, so here, I could have considered the move g4. Like, this is a move that you can play in King's Indian positions with the knights on f5 and h5. But you have to be willing to suffer the consequences. And I knew about this move. This forks the knights. But it gets weird because you're opening your king. I'm trying to find a concrete way of demonstrating how dangerous this can be. But let's say even like knight f4 and take. I mean, even bishop takes. This might be a bad example, but black's going to have some compensation here with my king being open, the queen coming to g5. The engine likes, what, knight h4, knight d4? Take. Yeah, this might be a better
Check.
demonstration line. Queen g5 check, king h1, bishop g4. It's very scary in a blitz game. With a longer time control, I probably would have looked at g4. It's possible this is just the best move. If I'm going to play it, I have to seize that opportunity now, because this knight is not going to stick around on f5. It's going to land itself on d4. I started using quite a bit of time right around here. Played knight b5. He got the knight in. Okay, this move I played pretty quick. Knight f4. Oh yeah, right here I must have used probably at least a minute on this next move. Whoa, yeah, way more than a minute. So I went from 328 down to 142. I just couldn't quite figure out what to do. So now instead of having knights on f5, h5, he has them on d4, f4. And, I mean, I could take this knight, but somehow it doesn't look right. Just giving out the bishop pair like that. I can eliminate both knights, actually, but do I really have much? I'm probably at best playing for equality. I have no future in the attack on d6, and they can play bishop f5, maybe attack my knight on e4. The computer actually says small edge, but I was looking for something more enterprising. So the line that I was calculating was g3,
check.
knight h3 check, bishop takes h3, bishop takes h3, and then try to utilize the position of the rook here with g4. And the pawn on g4 is defended by the queen. This would win the piece if not for queen h4. So queen h4. Ah, but here I can play rook g3. I didn't see that move. And the computer says plus almost 2 for white. So rook g3, defending g4, and maybe I'm threatening... probably this is the threat. Yeah, rook e to e3, and attacking the bishop in a original way. So he might be in trouble here. That was the missing piece. So I can play g3 right away. I don't need the h4 move to try to block out his queen or whatnot. Yeah, and granted, it's not forced for him to play knight h3. He could go back to h5, but if I knew that after g3 he would play knight h5, I would have played g3 in a second. I wouldn't have wasted a minute and a half on that move. More than a minute and a half. So I played h4. This is kind of a weird-looking move. So if queen takes, g3, knight h3, check. This looks dangerous, but after king h2, his queen is under attack. f2 is defended by my knight. And if this knight moves, like any discoveries, I just take his queen. So like knight takes f2, take. He can take my queen. But let's just say I take here at the end. Okay, maybe that's inaccurate. Maybe I should take d4 according to the computer first. Eliminate his knight so it can't come into f3. So take here. Yeah, I am just up a piece after this. So that calculation checks out. Yeah, and if the queen moves away, I get a chance to play bishop takes h3. Like if he comes back here, I can go and take that knight. So tactically speaking, h4 looks sound. I'm just not sure if it's worth it to weaken the king like this if the whole knight h3 move is not a threat or not necessary for black. So he just played rook f7. He still has 4 minutes left, and I'm under 2. I played g3.
Check.
So he did go for this. And now I took here, thinking that I can deflect the queen and make this whole line work. That was the aim of this operation. Now g4. But it looks like it's bad for a couple reasons. Maybe the game continuation... Well, okay, game continuation might be good for white. This move I did not see, knight f3. Oh, I mean, I saw that I could play rook takes, but this reply, bishop takes g4, completely went over my head. Yeah, he's pinning me to the queen, like so. If rook takes f7, bishop takes d1. Yeah, white can pretty much resign here because I can't get 2 rooks for the queen I'm not in time. He takes this rook. I guess I could do
Check.
this, but I'm certain this is losing for white. Ooh, so knight f3. Yeah, this is a trap you have to avoid, not only in Blitz, but in any time control. Like, he knows that I'm down on time and that I'm approaching less than a minute. And what he did is he just kept playing at the same, like, very quick pace and didn't ever stop to try to find a better move and maybe put the pressure on me and maybe just play a position that looks objectively better, if not winning for him on the board. He tried to play off my time, and that backfired. So g4, yeah, I mean, maybe if he spends more than 8 seconds on this next move, he could find knight f3 check. Because I certainly didn't have all the time to calculate the complications.
Check.
Now it's not as clear. Rook f3 was a good move. Rook h2 is probably forced. I mean, if I take here, I assume after knight takes, he's threatening queen h2 mate, he's threatening my rook, h4 is hanging. Yeah, I'm probably just busted here. So, rook f3, and I went rook h2, queen g3, rook g1. Yeah, and once again, so he spent less than 10 seconds to play e4. And he just assumed that his queen was trapped. But if he had spent the time, he would have found rook d3, and he would have escaped. And that would have put me under heavy pressure with less than a minute left. And I would go from thinking I'm about to win a queen to maybe a better position. But wait, how does this work? So if
Check.
take here, because I thought rook g1 was just bad.
Check.
Take, check. Ah, okay, so the endgame is actually equal material. So he can win the rook back. But maybe I'm just winning this endgame because I can march my king up to e4 maybe. And then maneuver and try to win this pawn. Or h6 is also weak. Even this would be hard to win with the amount of time I had. But the overall point is that you shouldn't try to win on the clock in most scenarios. Even if your opponent's under pretty severe time pressure, you should be willing to spend the necessary time to find a good move at the board, on the board, not just on the clock. Because in that way, you can put even more pressure on your opponent a lot of times. If you play a good move and they're time pressure, that's much better than if you're just going into me versus you, bashing out good moves. Then you're kind of getting drawn into their time pressure. So he went e4, and now I'm plus 10, and I struggled mightily somehow, like coordinating my position. He actually got a surprising amount of counterplay. Bishop f4 was a completely useless move. I have no idea why I played that move. I mean, realistically, all I have to do is get my queen in somewhere to attack him. Attacking like this or this. Some of the weak points he has, and his position's going to collapse. It crossed my mind that I might lose this, despite being plus
Check.
10 a second ago. Like, already my advantage has shrunk a little bit. He was able to eliminate that d pawn.
Check.
Oh, hello. Queen takes g4. Completely missed that move.
Check.
Oh, John, you got to stop getting in time pressure. And I was able, at long last, to win this. He didn't test me at
Check.
the end. After it was clear I was rounding up his pawn, he just resigned. So, eventful game. Yeah, I think if you're going to play this line for white, like this type of middle game deserves some study because this style position can happen all the time, especially with black having just played f5, attacking white's center. There's ramifications of white taking and then playing that g4 move, trying to fork the knights. And it's been such a long time since I looked at the theory, I'm definitely not up to date on it. The classical is very interesting. It's just if you play this line for white, like you got to be willing to dive into some heavy theory and often fade some vicious kingside attacks when they start going over there. And if you have any doubt about that, check out Nakamura's games as black and see how he treats this opening. He's had some sparkling wins, like against Wesley So recently in the Sinquefield Cup. His games against Gelfand and Anand, both wins for black, and I believe they might have been the Mar del Plata variation, maybe not the Bayonet, but wins in the classical King's Indian for black. Some very impressive stuff by him. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Bye, guys.